protesting.
And Mike, you were talking about that last night. You and Willie both out talking about the people protesting. Mayor de Blasio calling for calm. Willie, you were saying at the end of Al Sharpton's show, he was very intense, telling people.
Yeah, well, Reverend Sharpton had an interview with Eric Garner's widow and Eric Garner's mother together on the set, and they had a very compelling interview. At the end, Reverend Sharpton turned to the camera and implored and pleaded with the protesters tonight. He knew there would be some. To be peaceful, to get the message out, don't destroy businesses, don't resort to violence. That's never the path. So I think cooler heads, for the most part, Mike, you were out there too, prevailed last night on both sides, by the way. The police officers conducted themselves well too.
I followed the protest for about 12 blocks from Columbus Circle on the west side of Manhattan to about West 72nd Street. It was truly an impressive, inclusive crowd. Their ages ranged from young children, 10 years of age, to elderly people like myself.
That's a nice way of putting it.
It was an inviting crowd, as I said earlier, because the crowd was so spontaneous and so into what had happened. But also, on the other hand, the police were terrific. I mean, they stood back. They protected the protesters, the crowds, from traffic. They stopped traffic.
Yeah.
They were not in the face of the crowd.
To that point, my grandfather was a police officer, and your perspective, you've covered the streets for a long, long time. The crime has never been lower in New York City, and we've got to be careful that we don't swing the pendulum too far. The overwhelming majority of police officers do their job. They do it right. Yeah. They are not necessarily seeing color the way we kind of just always black and white it here. And we've got to be careful not to paint that brush.
Well, there's no doubt about that, Donnie. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But there's also no doubt that once you leave a police department like New York or Philadelphia or even Boston to some extent, police departments have to get to the point where they reflect more the community that they serve. You look at the sides of police cars, and it says to protect and to serve. Basically, policing is a service industry. They work for us. That seems to have gotten out of hand in some
That's a good way of putting it. That's a very good
some
point.
cities. We have to get back to the notion they work for us. They should reflect the community they serve far more than they do in many instances. Not New York. New York City, for my money, is still the finest police department in the world.
You know,